Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler for each series of videos I would do for a little while. I go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm going to talk about the stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. This is the fourth time I've tried to do my intro. First time I accidentally burped. Second time there was a bird that flew by and distracted me. And the third time there was shit in my eye. But we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammer on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I'm wearing super grody work clothes. Typically, when I'm inside the truck and I'm wearing grody work clothes, that means I was on my way home from work and I found some shit to review for you. That's definitely the case today. At the time I'm doing this, we just got into November. Like, literally, this is November 1st. And I knew that getting off of work, I was going to be pretty hungry because I basically just ate nothing but candy since it was Halloween yesterday. So I was like, blah, blah, blah. But I also had it in my head, I'm like, well, with it being November 1st, I would imagine there's probably going to be a fair amount of places that are going to be, changing up their menus, right? New monthly items and such. So I decided to pop on out to a place that I've reviewed plenty of stuff for, so much so I have an entire playlist for. It happens to be, boom, Dunkin. And what is this? This happens to be their, again, new item. This is their hash brown brisket scramble bowl, which consists of hash browns, brisket, scrambled eggs, smoked cheddar, poblano peppers, caramelized onions, seasonings, and cheddar queso. Sure. And like I said, I've reviewed plenty of stuff from Dunkin. I have an entire playlist called Dunkin Reviews, just in case you happen to be interested. But yeah, man, let's take a look at this. I will say this. They came out with these bowl things like a few years ago. They do seem to have gotten smaller. But okay. Maybe I'm just crazy, Brandon. You're just crazy old Brandon. That's what the world thinks of me. I'm certain of it. Fork! And then we'll kind of... Can I get a thing? Sure, that works. That works. I like that. That's when we can make this work. And we'll kind of do it like this. And we'll kind of like... Ha 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 ha! Let's give it a go. Well, I like the peppers. One weird thing about Dunkin', like their breakfast stuff is always kind of hit or miss for me. And again, if you watch my channel, you'd know that. Their new items, some of them are pretty good, some of them. One of the weird things, though, is that when they go over there and implement, like, sort of like fresher, I don't know how fresh they are, but fresher ingredients, especially like veg, a lot of times they actually end up doing really well with me. What was it, like when they were doing their like roasted tomato stuff, like, they had like, I think like roasted tomato avocado toast or some shit like that. That was delicious. Those peppers make all the difference here. The hash browns are just their normal hash browns. I've always been kind of here or there on them. I like them enough, but I wouldn't put them up there with like, like McDonald's hash browns or anything. They're always a little bit squishy instead of having that nice crispy texture. But yeah, okay. I will say this, I am not seeing a lot of brisket. If there's brisket in here, I mean, we're going to look for it, folks. We're going to, because really all it looks like is basically a whole bunch of hash browns with some cheese and some scrambled eggs on top. Whatever brisket there might be. We're going to look for it. We'll find it. There's onions in there. I think that's the brisket. Yeah, it's definitely like very shredded up. Which, I mean, yeah, I obviously wasn't expecting like a big old brisket slice, but... I was hoping for more brisket. But it is there, to be fair. But it's gone just as quickly. That's a shame. Like, I get it. I'm sure that's the most expensive part of this whole thing. But I really do feel like, not only me, as just a hungry fat guy in the morning doing a review, I feel like America deserves more brisket in this. Because, yeah, like, it's really, like, it's just kind of like, you know, an occasional shred here and there. Like, it's not really, if I had to put a percentage of, like, brisket to everything else in this, 2%, maybe? Which is a shame because, again, when you do get it, it does actually have a kind of a nice meaty flavor. It makes the whole thing better. But even with the limited brisket, I do actually like it. I mean, everything here works, you know. I think the big standouts for me, the queso, for sure. And, again, the poblano peppers. The scrambled eggs are fine. You know, they're Dunkin' scrambled eggs. They're not going to be super flavorful. They're more filler, but, you know, they're there. The hash browns, you do get a fair amount of flavor from them. But, again, they're not my favorite kind of hash browns. You know, crispier would be nicer, but they're not bad, and they do offer up some flavor. The caramelized onions, I'd be lying if I said I was getting a lot from them, but I do feel like they're adding a little something. Again, it really is. And it's a shame because it's literally the namesake of the damn thing. The brisket is really the only part that's lacking. And that's just because of quantity. Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. Like, it's nice. It has a liveliness because of the peppers and because of the queso. Kind of helps spruce it up a little bit. I mean, it's not a bad thing. And the queso, you know, it's got some oomph to it, you know. And I think the poblano and peppers, they give it that little extra kick. You know, they're not particularly spicy, but it just gives a little extra oomph of flavor. Yeah, it's not bad. All right, well, 2 questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? It's a tough one. On occasion, kind of. Because here's the thing. The big point of contention I have with this is the brisket. Again, I get it. Look at me. This guy right here. We all get it. But again, I really do feel like, especially with it being part of the namesake of the damn thing, I feel like there should be more brisket in there. But like, out of all of it that I ate, and it's not like you're getting a whole lot of it to begin with. Again, like 2, maybe 5% if I'm being really nice. Like, it really was like more of a garnish than it was like an actual element of the whole thing. And that's why it's like, I like the rest of it. Like, even without that, I actually do like it. It's tasty. I like, again, the flavors that are there are really nice. But it's just that thing of like, well, okay, but then give me the part of it that's literally in the name, and this will be even better, you know? So that's why I'm kind of here or there on it, because I do like it, but at the same time, I do feel like, you know, kind of feel like a little ripped off. Not super ripped off, but a little ripped off. That's why it's like, would I get it again? Maybe if enough time passed, you know, because like I said, we're at the beginning of November. I would imagine it's probably going to be available throughout November. Maybe later, you know, we'll see. Would I maybe get it in a few weeks? Like, if enough time passes? Maybe. I don't think I would get it again anytime real soon because, like, I'm a little bit sour about the brisket. And that's why if I'm recommending it, it's like, kind of. You know, because, like, who's to say that the Dunkin' where you go to, maybe they'll prepare it a little bit differently. Maybe they'll be a little bit more generous with the brisket. Or maybe they'll be more stingy. I don't know how that could be possible. And that's not me knocking my Dunkin', by the way. Like, I really like the Dunkin' Donuts that I go to. The staff there are fucking super nice and everything. And realistically, they're probably just working with what the hell ever they're supposed to work with. You know, they're taught how to make these damn things. But But yeah, I mean, like, it's a good item even without the brisket, you know? Like, it has nice flavors to it. It's one of those things where, like, if the flavors sound good, they are good. That's how this one works, you know? Like, they're all pretty well represented, except the brisket. So, if you're going into it expecting the brisket, there you go. If you're willing to kind of let that one slide a little bit, it is still pretty nice. But this is one of those ones where it's like, you could really kind of take it or leave it. You could roll the dice and maybe they'll be a little bit more generous, or you could kind of pass on it, maybe go for one of their items. But 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there with yourselves a truly brisket-tastic rest of your life, because brisket is good. I need to review some brisket for the channel one day. I don't even know how I would do that. I have barbecue places near me. I'm sure at least one of them has brisket. Keep an eye out for that. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time, I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back. Try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives. Hopefully, do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks. Do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your opinion on brisket? You know? Like, I wish, especially being the guy that I am, again, this guy, I wish I had more brisket in my life. You know, like, and I mean, you know, on occasion, again, barbecue place or something like that. But man, brisket is delicious, you know, and it's just, it's not a, you know, when do you find the time? And, you know, then there's the lack of cooking capabilities that I display, so. But let me know what you think about brisket. Is it something you're a big fan of, or is it something, you know, maybe you got other favorites? But anyway,